today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the Surefire Wiegand wireless bridge to hook up a Doorking system that uses a remote and the Doorking remote receiver, which is wired into the Surefire Wiegand remote interface, over to the Surefire controller interface and to our Doorking 1830 series controller. We are going to start on the remote side. The Surefire device is powered by 12 volts DC 1 amp power supply. We have the 12 volt positive and negative. There are terminals here for battery backup if you would like. And then we are powering the remote receiver with the V-bus. It's 12 volts. Then we have the ground, the data 0, and the data 1 here in the corresponding terminals along the bottom. Now on the Doorking remote interface down here at the bottom, we have our ground and our V-bus power, and then we have in slots pins number 7 and 8. In 7 we have the D0, and in 8 we have the data 1. Now on the top of this Wiegand remote interface right now, I have put our jumper in the wet position so that when the button is clicked, we get an LED light up there. If you're running a gate controller, which is normally what we'd be doing here, we would leave the jumper in the neutral position, and we would put our wires between R1 normally open and R1 common, create a dry contact, and that would trigger our gate. But on this board I do not have a gate today, and I wanted to show you that that was triggering. So I'm going to go ahead and click it, and we see the LED light up. You also see the LED light up on the Surefire unit here for those that have that. Now on this remote interface, if you have loops or request to exit buttons, they can go in R3 and ground, and R4 in and ground on this unit as well. On the Surefire Wiegand controller interface, on the bottom terminal block we have a separate power supply, 12 volts. We recommend 1 amp again. And then we have our ground, our data 0, and our data 1 terminals for our Wiegand. And so we can go up to our Doorking 1830 series, ground, data 1, and our data 0 there. After the Wiegand data is received by the Doorking controller, it is going to verify the credentials, and then it is going to trigger the relays over here. So we have our 1C and 1 normally open. So it's going to trigger relay 1 here, and we're going to come off of relay 1 common, relay 1 normally open, and we're going to come down to the Wiegand controller interface. We're going to come in on relay 1 and ground. No matter whether your lock is a normally open or normally closed type accessory, we're always going to come off of the controller in normally open and then into our terminal block on the top. And this is really all there is to it. We push the button, it's received by the remote receiver. It sends the Wiegand data out into the Surefire remote interface, sends that Wiegand data to the controller interface into our Doorking. The Doorking triggers the relay. It goes into the top of the controller interface, and it's received at the remote interface. And we see that it triggers. You can see our send and receive lights going and our relay triggering every time I push the button. For questions on product features and support, call a qualified Surefire technician at 844-787-3340.